going on, Jerome? It's a beautiful Saturday. Birds are chirping and stuff, and it's time for another Vikings news dump. So, pretty nice weekend. Going to Home Depot, getting some mulch. Mulch the house. Just the flower beds every year. A little bit of mulch. Looks good. Good to go. Also, we are 12 days, mercifully, away from the NFL draft. Two players in Vikings history drafted number 12 overall. 1973, Chuck Foreman, spin doctor, nailed it. Little Miss camping wrong. Basically, Chuck Foreman was a badass. He went to the Miami Hurricanes before it was cool. That's just the U being the U. Chuck Foreman's awesome, man. Chuck Foreman is one of the more underrated running backs in team history and also league history, by the way. Plus, I love that he wore the center bar. That's just great. We need to bring that back, man. Is there any players that wear the center bar right now? I don't think there are. There's probably one or two. Anyways, also 2011. So, Christian Ponder from Florida State. Oh, but he was Senior Bowl MVP. Jazz hands. And there was a run on quarterbacks. It was Gabbert, it was Jake Locker, and the Vikings just sort of panicked. And Ponder was behind the eight ball from the beginning. And it is the quarterback tax in full effect because Ponder probably should have been a second-round pick, maybe a third-round pick, but coming in as a first-rounder, seen as the savior of the franchise. The 2011 Vikings were booty. Donovan McNabb, remember him? Yeah, he was not good, so Ponder had to start before he was ready. It was just a mess. And you could tell, like, could Ponder have turned into a decent backup? Like, could Ponder have turned into Jabroni Brisket or Mariota, just been a long-term backup? Yes, I think he could have done that, but he was just broken. And his wife, blocked everyone on social media, which is kind of funny. But in fairness, yeah, so some of the negativity was certainly palpable, but yeah, is what it is. Yeah, so Chuck Foreman, good. Christian Ponder, not so good. Something that is very good. April draft month fundraiser. So all Venmos, Cash App, Super Chats donated to the show this month will be put towards to Twin Cities and Seoul, South Korea charities and support organizations. So links are down below. Goal for the month is $2,500, still sitting just shy of $1,400. I think that we'll crush that once we get into draft coverage. Thank you everyone who's supported the causes so far. Someone's obviously very close to my heart, and thank you much because the whole process needs to be streamlined, and families, sometimes good families are on the adoption list for years, right? And it's just unfortunate. Like we have a couple friends and family that are trying to adopt, and it is a process, right? So thank you very much, Jerome's, for paying it forward. You guys are absolutely the best. Also, jumping Joe Flacco. So we did have it on good authority that the Vikings and Joe Flacco had a wink nudge agreement in place. But, I mean, things change, right? And the Vikings, he clearly would have been quarterback too, money-wise. Might have been like $4 or $5 million, but the Browns came out of nowhere with a chair and gave him a $4 million deal with $13 million in incentives, which, by the way, that basically says that, hey, you could potentially be our starter. That's what that spells out. But right now, the quarterbacks are Kenny Pickett, and maybe they draft a quarterback, but that's not guaranteed either. So Flacco, I don't blame him. Like he sees a very clear pathway to starting in Cleveland. He didn't have that here with the Vikings, so just sort of is what it is. But now, so Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell have a plan, right? Of what who's going to be quarterback two. Plus, this is definitely champagne problems where the Vikings' biggest need right now is quarterback two behind J.J. McCarthy, who we hope is going to be a generational talent. I think he certainly could be. But as we said before, like the Vikings would be a prime target for any quarterback worth his salt, especially a backup quarterback. It's why Voldemort wants to be here, because the Vikings are freaking loaded, and you get to work with Kevin O'Connell as well as the J.J. McCarthy. He is going to be the future, but he hasn't started the game in his NFL career. So all this could be very, very tempting, especially you saw what happened with Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, a year with Kevin O'Connell, and the Vikings got paid. That's what these guys want. But I don't know. Like if the Vikings wanted Mariota, they could have had him. If the Vikings wanted Jabroni Brisket, they would have had him. If they wanted Flacco, they would have had him. Daniel Jones, as well as Nick Mullins, you name them. All right, so the Vikings, what are the options? I mean, it's starting to seem like the obvious one is that the Vikings just really believe in Brett Rippon, which is certainly possible because they made a choice. They grabbed him from the Bears last offseason or before the start of the year, taking him over Jaron Hall, the Mormon missile. And also, there was some scuttlebutt that Rippon had maybe moved up past Mullins on the depth chart as backup quarterback too. Maybe not in name, but in practicality, right? And then you got veterans like Ryan Tannehill, who the Vikings reportedly have spoken with. Trade for Kirk Cousins. I know that people aren't wild about that. I think at a certain point, if you're not paying Kurt a lot, if the Falcons gobble up a lot of his thing, plus you're not giving up a singular draft pick, a pick swap is what we would be looking for at maximum. And Kurt would have to humble himself, like realize that this is not your team. You are the backup quarterback. I actually think that could be possible because that actually happened with, was it Matt Schaub? Matt Schaub. Yeah. There have been starting quarterbacks that went back to their old team and were backups. Yeah. Also trading for Slinging Sammy Howell, a.k.a. Korea's quarterback. He's half Korean. If we combine half of Sam Howell and half of Kyler, we would have the perfect quarterback. Although he probably throw a lot of picks. But Sam Howell, after the Seahawks signed Drew Lock, he could be expendable in Seattle. Trade for Aiden O'Connell, who could be expendable with the Raiders now that they traded for Geno. Plus O'Connell and O'Connell. That's just too funny, right? Or draft a quarterback late. Will Howard from Ohio State. Kyle McCord from Syracuse/Ohio State, which would be funny considering his history with J.J. McCarthy. It'd be good. Either way, there will be plans in place, and there's still options out there. This is great. Rap sheet. The Saints suddenly have a major quarterback question. Starter Derek Carr is now dealing with a shoulder injury that threatens his availability for the season, sources say. Carr is weighing options, including the possibility of surgery. By the way, they restructured Carr's contract, so basically they couldn't cut him, and Carr got significant guarantees, and now all of a sudden, my shoulder hurts. I need surgery. I'm going to miss a year. Shady stuff. But also, I think that the Saints don't mind because they want to take opportunity here, right? Because they have the lowest amount of cap space. They're going to run this thing into the ground. Like they're not drafting Shedeur at 9. They're not signing Aaron Rodgers. I don't think there's going to be a spot for him. They're going to start Spencer Rattler, and they're just going to. They are going to run this mother into the ground. You know why? Because the number 1 overall pick next year, Arch Manning. And so Arch Manning, he grew up in New Orleans. His dad Archie is basically a demigod with the Saints. Everything comes full circle. It's all set up. It's all friggin' set up. It's gonna happen. The Saints might go 0-17 on purpose. Who dat going 0-17? Oh, the Saints. Yeah, great. Also great. So J.J. McCarthy. J.J. McCarthy, again, his name, image, likeness. Or, I don't know, Sleep Number commercial. So, Sleep Number. I feel like Sleep Number's quietly crept up as the number 1 sponsor in the NFL. Yeah, but he did doing his Sleep Number commercial. What is the ideal sleeping position? And J.J. McCarthy always looking like he has bedhead with that broccoli hair. Best sleeping position, stomach, one leg slightly raised, one arm underneath the pillow, other hand like splayed out right here, almost like you're putting in the Americana. Yeah, that's about it. Also, eye mask. I'm too afraid to do mouth tape. Because what if you get a stuffy nose overnight? You die. Also, you have to have your AirPods in and just do J.J. McCarthy's motivational sayings on repeat. Actually, he has to be whispering them. Show up every day with enthusiasm unknown to mankind. Hey, more fatties. As well as a TV on mute. Just have J.J. McCarthy hype videos over and over and over again. That's what you need to do. That is the ideal sleeping position. You can't sleep on your back because you snore. Or at least that's what I'm told. Not that I care. Also something that I care about. Byron Murphy Jr. was back at his alma mater, Saguaro, talking to the young players, dropping some truth bombs, giving a little bit of motivation. Be like, hey, I was where you were. And if you work hard every single day, you bust your ass and you grind and you can be like me. Byron Murphy Jr. Yeah, the pride of Washington, was there originally Arizona, came here to the Vikings on a 2-year deal, did the damn thing, had 6 interceptions last year, has really rounded himself into one of the better cornerbacks in the league, got paid, respect. I love Byron Murphy Jr. He's got a good attitude. Plus, he's really embraced. Maybe that's something he's always had, but it seems like he's really embraced the mentor aspect of the job now, as he is more of an elder statesman. You saw him after training camp working with Dwight Newton McLaughlin after practices day after day, plus respect to Nudie, looking to get better every single day, every single way. Say hi.
Hi. Hi, Dad.
So it's great to see that here for Murph, because Murph has talked about when he was in Arizona, Patrick Peterson was a big-time mentor and influence on him, and smooth segue. That was good. Adam Schefter, 8-time Pro Bowl cornerback Patrick Peterson will be in Arizona on Monday to retire as a Cardinal per source. Peterson played 13 years in the NFL, including his first 10 seasons in Arizona, where he was a 3-time All-Pro selection. Also, go back and look Patrick Peterson's punt return numbers, like his first couple of years. Insane. He returned like four punts for touchdowns. But Patrick Peterson should and could be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Now, when he came to the Vikings, a little bit longer in the tooth, but still could play some decent ball. He of the all we need are 5 touchdowns, Patrick Peterson. So P squared was solid. The 2 years he was here with the Vikings, spent 1 year in Pittsburgh, and then that was basically it. But big time respect to Patrick Peterson. Thank you very much for providing some solid play and some solid leadership here with the Vikings over a couple of seasons. And glad that you're retiring your Cardinal. That's the way it should be. And we'll see you in Canton does it count since he was out of football last year? Does that count as one of his 5 years? I think it does. And we'll see. Also, we'll see Texas Pro Day going down. Woo. Hooking, baby. Vikes fan page. The Vikings had personnel at Texas Pro Day to monitor both cornerback Jahdae Barron and offensive lineman Kelvin Banks. Thanks. Specifically, Alec Lewis mentioned via the Alec Lewis show. Lewis also mentioned that if Byron Murphy Jr. did not resign, it would be hard to believe the Minnesota wouldn't go the route taking Jahdae Barron round 1. Barron could be a potential option for Minnesota if he falls to them. Well, Barron's tough to figure out because he's not like a true outside corner. He's not a true slot corner. Like, he's a big nickel type guy. Like, he's going to be all over the place, which is good. Versatility is great. But also, the Texas Pro Day, there's going to be some really good players there. Andrew Makuba, my guy. Safety, absolute stud. Defensive tackle, Freddie Collins could be in that mix. The other offensive tackle, Cameron Williams, could be a potential selection for the Vikings. Running back, Jaden Blue, probably less likely at this point, as well as tight end Gunnar Helm. Could be in that mix too. They're probably not looking at Ewers. Not saying, I'm just saying. As we turn the volume down on this. There you go. Lastly, so PFF put out their list of 2025 NFL draft sleepers. PFF Steve and Sam Munson, the Irishman. And some of my favorite players are on here. So Jacob Parrish, I think, is super underrated at cornerback. Kevin Winston Jr. from Penn State. If the medicals check out, he could be that dude. CJ West, I love. Coming in from Kent State, going to Indiana, basically being the marshal along that defensive line. He was great. And, of course, Willie Lampkin. I've talked about Willie Lampkin. He's 5'10", 270. I do not care in the slightest. He plays with great leverage, and he's just a dude. Now, could he be your everyday starting guard? Probably not. But if a creative football mind needs to turn Willie Lampkin into a fullback, H-back, 6 offensive lineman / tight end, and swing back up O-lineman. That's what he needs to be, right? Because there's so many good things with Willie Lampkin. Like, he's such a smooth glider. He plays with great leverage, and he's just so Willie Lampkin at fullback, J.J. Pegues from Ole Miss as your goal line tailback. Let's go. What's up?
My name.
Okay. Willie Lampkin is an absolute monster. I love him, man. But that's it. 12 overall. That's it. Happy Saturday. Have yourself a great weekend, Jerome's. It's going to be awesome. We're almost to the draft. Enjoy times with friends and family and all that stuff. So there you go. You know what to do. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Support the work. Put a little something in the Venmo. Remember, adoption, a charity drive all this month. You guys are the best. You know what to do. Skull, production value. Say production value. Production value?
Production value.
Close enough.